No matter how many times we defeat them, these baddies will always be in our hearts. Hey everyone, I'm Ricky with WatchMojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 final bosses in gaming. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, War Thunder. With over 20 million players, this free-to-play game stands out because it is legitimately a great game. War Thunder is a deep military vehicle combat game with more than 1,200 historically accurate tanks, aircrafts, and ships to choose from. And it's available for free right now on Xbox One, Mac, Windows, and PS4, so check it out. For this list, we're looking at some of the most iconic final bosses in gaming history. Now, this doesn't mean they're the most challenging bosses, but it does mean that they will be remembered for years to come. Adrian, take it away.
Number 10, Xemnas, Kingdom Hearts 2. Gamers were first properly introduced to the nobodies in Kingdom Hearts 2, so it only makes sense that one of them would become the game's final boss. Organization 13 and the dark intentions of Master Xehanort were revealed, leading to a showdown with Xemnas, Xehanort's nobody. After already having seemingly been defeated multiple times, Xemnas shows up once again to go toe-to-toe with Sora and Riku, albeit this time around with more forms than you can shake a stick at. It ultimately takes not one, but two Keyblades wielded by Sora to finally dispatch Xemnas for good. Pretty formidable for a guy who technically doesn't even exist. Number 9, Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime. This ghastly insectoid mutant is the source of all Phazon, excreting the stuff from a cave deep underground on Talon 4, where it lurks. Phazon is an extremely powerful and valuable element useful as an energy source, but can equally be a corrupting influence. This is what happens to Samus when she finally battles Metroid Prime. The fact her suit is powered by Phazon eventually leads to the creation of Dark Samus, her evil doppelganger, who returns as an antagonist more than once. It turns out that Phazon is what those space pirates were after all along, the leader of whom, Mother Brain, was almost as horrific as Metroid Prime when she served as the final boss of Super Metroid. Number 8, Safer Sephiroth, Final Fantasy VII. Once the beat of the one-winged angel starts playing, you know things are about to go down in dramatic form. Taking on a much more divine form, Sephiroth is more than a match for Cloud and his gang with his powerful techniques. And to make matters worse, things are taken to a whole new level when he uses Supernova. Which summons a meteor that takes out every planet of the solar system all before crashing into the sun and engulfing our heroes in the aftermath. Does it get any more out of this world than that? Number 7, Giygas, Earthbound. An alien entity who crashes to Eagleland in a meteor, Giygas is devoted to filling the world with hatred and darkness. Through his influence, Giygas commands most enemies that Ness and company come across, meaning the entire game builds up exceptionally to this final, epic showdown. He's so powerful that when he's released from the Devil's Machine, he surrounds the party in a mess of impenetrable darkness. Even if you're a master Earthbound player, it'll probably still take you some time to whittle down Giygas' health enough to defeat him, but winning this fight brings with it a sense of accomplishment like few others. Number 6, Senator Armstrong, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Every American man, woman, and child. We're all sons of a patriots now!
Hideo Kojima's Donald Trump-like villain serves as the big bad for Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, the installment in which players control cyborg warrior Raiden rather than Solid Snake. Senator Armstrong isn't just a right-wing politician wanting to make America great again, though he does say those exact words. He's also made himself superhuman using nanotech even more powerful than Raiden's, so defeating him is no easy task. Especially considering that to even get to him, you first have to destroy his Metal Gear. This Ultra Patriot can take one hell of a beating, but with your help, Raiden ultimately emerges victorious.
You don't let legal bullshit get in the way. And if it costs a few lives, so be it.
Have you downloaded War Thunder yet? My favorite thing in this game are the damage models. Vehicles don't have typical hit points, but instead suffer actual damage to their components and crew. Combine that with the huge number of vehicles to pick from and 80 battlefields to fight through, and War Thunder is the most authentic and fun vehicle combat game I've ever played. 20 million other players are waiting for you, so play for free on Windows, Mac, Xbox One, and PS4, and register now to get a premium tank or aircraft and a 3-day boost.
Number 5. Baby Bowser, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Gaming's most iconic villain has given us no shortage of memorable forms and boss fights over the decades, including the eerie Dark Bowser from 2009. But one of his most threatening appearances remains that of Giant Bowser in Yoshi's Island. Bowser's already a pretty big guy to begin with, but seeing him loom in the background of the final world, eyes glowing and throwing projectiles, including fireballs, at Yoshi and Baby Mario, is memorable to say the least. Kind of ironic that he's so huge, since Bowser was actually still a child at the time. Number 4. Virgil, Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening.
Unfortunately, our souls are at odds, brother. I need more power.
Twin sons of Sparta and seemingly at each other's throats from birth, Virgil embraces his demonic half in the same way Dante shuns it. Virgil has been a villain for as long as Dante has been our hero, but it's in the prequel Devil May Cry 3 that these two gaming icons had arguably their best showdown. The fight is made more meaningful considering Dante and Virgil just worked together to defeat Arkham, an epic alliance that sadly couldn't last. Virgil is simply too obsessed with gaining even more power. Chronologically, this is his first big defeat at Dante's hands, but it definitely won't be his last. Number 3. Malice, Shadow of the Colossus. In this game dedicated to killing big, bad monsters, pretty much every confrontation was just practice for the biggest and baddest of them all, Malice. He towers over the player like, well, a tower, and is one of the only immobile colossi to boot. Just reaching his feet to begin the ascent is complicated, especially with him taking every opportunity to hit you with his energy blasts. It's also no easy feat trying to stay attached to his arms while he tries to shake you off, and you're definitely going to fall more than once. But just like every other Colossus, hit his weak points enough times and he'll come crashing to the ground. Number 2. Jubileus, the Creator, Bayonetta. Considering Bayonetta is all about killing angels in their various forms, it only seems natural that you wind up squaring off against a god at the end of its crazy conclusion. And you can feel good about it because this god wants to erase the entire universe and start afresh. All that being said, Jubileus did come as a surprise to lots of players, since the penultimate boss fight is initially set up to be the game's climax. But in true Bayonetta style, nothing is as it initially seems, and the final boss is actually fought in outer space on the edge of a black hole, with seemingly all of creation hanging in the balance.
Before we reveal the best baddie of the bunch, let's take a minute to honor those who didn't make the list with these honorable mentions.
Number 1. Ganon, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. He's been Link's archenemy from the very beginning, the Demon King obsessed with conquering Hyrule for himself and killing the chosen hero. In some form or another, Ganondorf is the final boss in basically every single Zelda game, but he's at his most memorable and evil in Ocarina of Time. After consuming the Triforce, Ganondorf becomes Ganon, an inhuman beast who's still just as ruthless in his attempts to vanquish Link. With the arena enveloped in fire, lightning flashing in the background, and Zelda's life on the line, Ganon offers up a final boss fight of epic proportions.
I'm very happy to see my man-pig beast Ganon at number 1. I think we can all agree that he deserves it. Alright guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. Let us know which one of these bosses was your favorite to fight down in the comments, and for more videos, be sure to like and subscribe to WatchMojo.